Alright, here's the stools that I want to build that go along with my pub table. My wife Deb did a little looking online at some pictures. I looked online. I found one that I thought I liked, but as it turns out, this is actually a better choice though too anyway. Mine was going to be more of a solid leg, kind of a chunkier leg, and this is going to be nice because this kind of matches the taper of the post on my table. So what I'm envisioning here is I'm going to have a mortise and tenon joint here, 4 times. This is going to be a cross piece, much like the same cross that I built to support the table, and marry it up to the post. So it'll be like a half lap joint there in the center, and then mortise and tenon into each of the posts. Now there's 2 of those. There's one under here as well. See if I can rotate that. There you go. So you're gonna do it 2 times. Just a smaller version up on top here, and then the bigger one down the bottom. The seat is nothing more than a 14-inch circle with a little bevel on the side here to give it a thinner look. And maybe you can see that better if I do it like this. There, now you can see that bevel. I'm going to put a bevel on that, and hopefully the legs will meet right at that circle that is formed by that inner circle. Then around over the edge here. Again, mortise and tenon joints are there again up on top. So 8 mortise and tenons, 2 half laps, and then the seat. The other thing that I want to do is, what was I going to show you here? Oh, I guess the thing that I need to show you is kind of the math when you lay this out. So what I did here, hopefully I'm not getting in the way, is I laid out the leg just using straight lines across the top and the bottom, and then laid out this line at 7 degrees, went over 2 inches, made a mark, and came down, and then my bottom here is 1.25 inches. So a taper from 2 inches to 1.25 inches, with the outside edge being at 7 degrees, and then I don't even know what that angle is. So I'm thinking, well, I don't want to have to lay out a piece of wood this rectangle this large to do that. So I went and laid it out a different way, and that was to lay it out this way, straight up and down. Well, what happens when you do that is you find out that I want my seat to be, the top of my seat to be 24 inches from the floor. So I'm figuring a 1-inch thick seat, so therefore my leg has got to be 23 inches, right? So when I lay this out 23 inches, well, this line here is longer than 23 inches because it's at a 7-degree angle. Turns out that it's 23.173 inches, and I'm just going to make that 23.25, and then I'll off of that line, off of that 23.25 line, I'll strike 2 parallel 7-degree lines, measure over 2 inches this way here, make a mark, and then drop it down and make my taper. So I'll put that, then I'll figure out what that is. I have no idea what it is, I guess, actually, but it doesn't matter. I'll put it on my jig, make that taper cut, and then these lines will already have been established from my just from my layout, and that'll give me this line here at 23 1/4. I'm gonna make it 23 1/4. And then I'll lay out my, because now this is flat, I can lay it on a drill press table and make 90-degree mortises into it at the locations I need to make them. So this is what I want to build. 4 of them. Solid maple, all the way around. Everything's solid maple. Half laps, mortise and tenon, and then again I'm going to use my circle cutting jig like I did when I made the top. Only this time I'm going to use my jigsaw to cut the waste away using that tip that Alan gave me. So there it is, 4 pub table stools, 4 pub table stools. So let's get busy and get going. All right, just got rid of our finished, getting some rough cut lumber, I guess here. I ended up yielding 13 pieces, about 4.5 inches wide by various lengths. Let me grab my tape measure here. So they're anywhere from 25.5 to, this one's 26, yeah. So I should be able, and these are shorter, these are 21s. I should be able to get everything I need. I need 1 for a pair of legs. So 2, 4, 6, let's just say these top 8 are going to take care of the legs. Then the remaining 5 can take care of the cross braces and the I'll have to get some more material for the seats. I got these left over too. These are anything more than 2 inches wide, which these 3 pieces are, can be used for that as well. So I'm going to take and face join them. Some of them got a little curl going on there, a little bending on them, a little cut here and there. So this is the junk here. You can see where I got rid of that kind of crap. This one here might yield a 2-inch piece yet. I should probably rip that one down. I'll run that one through the joiner as well, the planer and joiner. See how wide this piece is. Yeah, that's not big enough, wide enough. So, okay, face join them, edge join them, rip them again, run them through the planer, get them flat and sized up. That's my next operation here. I'll be back when I get done with that. That's better. I got everything basically S3 right now. So top, bottom, one side. And these 4 pieces here, this one's a nice piece. But these top 3 pieces, if I need a piece of scrap to run through, to check, this is actually a pretty nice piece too. These 2 here. This got a lot of tear out in it. It's a nice looking piece of wood, I think, if it ever got sanded up. But they're the same thickness because I ran them all at the same time. So I can use these to, set up for my tenons or whatever I need, whenever I need a scrap piece. So that's what I'll do with these for sure. And then I'll pick through here and pick out the best ones for the 16 legs that I need, and then the remainder will be left over for cross pieces and just cross pieces, and hopefully I'll have enough for that. So I'm gonna dust myself off, go get something to eat, and call it a day. All right, I did a little layout work, and this is what I ended up with on my board that I'm going to use for a single leg. I've got I think 5 or 6 of them, and then the other ones produce doubles. But here's my 2 3/4 inch line at 7 degrees, and then this line represents, right in here is where that tenon will go. So I took that from that point there down to the bottom here at 1.25 inches, and then here again is my 7 degree line. So this thing will sit, once it's cut, it'll sit at an angle like that. And then this represents my 2-inch cross piece that's going to go in here, and there'll also be a tenon in this area here. So I came to set up my taper jig. I don't have a problem with reaching this line here with my adjustment, but on the bottom I'm about, well, I don't know, 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch short, and my bolt gets in the way. So 2 ways to solve that, I guess. One is to make the groove longer, or the other is to move the hole. And for me, it's going to be easier to move the hole. So I'm going to punch my bolt out here, make a mark, you know, somewhere in here, halfway maybe. I could probably even go, yeah, I'll make it about halfway, somewhere in there. Drill a new hole so that I can kick my base all the way over now, like that. This is where I need to be, right about there. And this would come over about like this. So I'd be somewhere in this neighborhood. So let me drill a new hole, and then we'll come back and we'll make a couple cuts here and see how it works out. Here's a quick little tip I just kind of discovered, I guess, but I drilled my 1/2 inch hole here, and I didn't want to punch it all the way through because I had to countersink like this for the carriage bolt. So what I did was I drilled down until I thought I was close, just took my scratch awl and found the center point of that brad point bit, and just put it on my workpiece and just worked it through until I got a point to come through. Now I can use this as my locating point for my 1-inch drill bit, and I'll countersink it like this one, and then be able to put my carriage bolt in that way. So that worked out pretty slick. You called that a 1/2 inch hole earlier. It's 3/8. Anyway, that did the trick. I gotta go back and put my handle on, and then I'll come back and assemble this thing here again, put it to work. All right, I'm eyeballing this, and as I look down the cut line here, this is going to be very close to this knob. I mean, it's not close to the bolt, but very close to the knob. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut the piece and stop. I'm not going to go all the way through, because I'm just going to see where this lands. If it looks like it's going to clear, then I might make this cut and cut off part of my jig here too. But we'll see how it works out. Had to find some safety glasses here. Trying to find my other pair. I don't see them right now. Anyway, these will work. All right, let's see what happens. anyway, this wedge, I'm going to need that at the drill press. I'm 100% positive about that. That looks pretty good. What I end up with, I'm a little bit off the line, but like I said, that's okay, just as long as I'm consistent. So I've got what I want. I'll hit that with my plane iron and take that burning off. I should take this blade out and clean it. It's full of pitch and stuff. But let's make another cut. I'll get one more blank here. Now this one's just a little bit longer. That's okay too. And you can see this chunk ripped out here. I'm going to put that to the outside. I almost think that one clamp is enough, but yeah, that's good. Alright, let's see if we can run one more here and maybe get rid of some of this burning. I want to take one more look at this piece. I might want that at the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to go this way. Now, I'll just continue to cut these legs, and then we'll set up and figure out how we're going to cut these angles on them and make sure we end up with 16 identical pieces. Right there is where they're identical, right at that point. So that means this one's got to be, that's 2. Well, you can see them here. Right there is where they're identical. And you can see this one, it has to be trimmed that way and this way. No. This way it's got to go. Yeah, right there. Anyway, we'll get that figured out. Alright, the first piece I cut with a double had a split in the bottom here that I didn't notice. But as soon as I made that cut, that thing opened right up. So I peeled it back to about right here. Took the split, put a bunch of glue in there, and I'm going to see if I can salvage this piece. So it looks, it went back together, you know, just fine, because there's a lot of action going on there. Fibers go in different directions, but when you put it back together, why, it wanted to mate right back up where it was. So I'll see how that turns out. I'm going to go finish up the rest of my cuts here, and we'll come back to look at all of them, and we'll see how this one turns out.